Hi there, my name's Vanessa. I'm the Assistant Director of Multimedia and Fiction at the Headquarters Library. And today I'm here to talk to you about something that I really enjoy doing kind of in my off time. It really leads to a lot of great things, creativity, and the ability to just kind of come up with new ideas based on some of my experiences. So people come to journaling for a variety of reasons. Some people use it for mental or emotional growth or as a way to get started with their creative endeavors, like I've stated. And I've been journaling for years. Despite all this notebook clutter I have accumulated, I've gained a good amount from the practice. This program is part of our 2020 Summer Reading for All, and I'm here to tell you that there is something in this practice of journaling for everyone. So first thing that I'm going to talk about today is journaling/keeping a diary. And this is probably one of the most familiar types of journaling. Most people are familiar with it from when they were kids and somebody gifted them a little notebook with a nice little lock on it that most of the time you ended up losing the key to. And then there's also these notebooks that we've kind of gathered over the time. I know sometimes there's small notebooks, there's big notebooks, just binds of paper, because that's really what a notebook is. So most of the time, the journals that I keep are stream of consciousness writing, and so I don't really go back and review them very often. Often an idea or inspiration emerges, and I'm able to find a spark of inspiration and create something with it. One of the most notable processes from dealing with journaling is the Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She introduced morning pages, which helps many people get their thoughts on paper and to start to explore their internal climate. A lot of people use it for spiritual pursuits and so forth. I love this book and this practice, but not only because of the morning pages, but she also talks about a artist date, which is a really good thing. And it just really instills and expects one to just really delve in and explore their creativity. So some people keep a list of items they're grateful for. This is a gratitude journal that kind of is stemming from this journal. 3 to 5 items, basically either when you wake up in the morning or it's said that really helps if you're having some struggles, to just kind of have a journal where you're writing down the things that you're most grateful for. So there's also the dream journaling, which people use oftentimes for exploring kind of their subconscious or unconscious state with dreaming. This book is the Mindful Way to a Good Night's Sleep. It includes some topics of journaling as well as meditation, and this is available in our library catalog. I will be posting links to all of the books that I discuss in this program to the bottom of our YouTube video. So there's lots of journals that kind of came out of this whole idea of keeping your thoughts on paper, and some people have really kind of started to explore, especially the last couple of months where we've been kind of spending a lot more time at home, kind of explore writing down things on the page. So if you haven't tried it yet, just think about it. Pick a dedicated notebook and see where 20 minutes of free writing gets you. This notebook, for example, was a gift. So maybe if you tell some of your friends and family that you're really started thinking about getting into journaling, they might gift you with a lovely journal such as this. You could end up remembering something that you had long since forgotten, some story that really needs to make its way out into the world. So I highly recommend that. And it could be an essay or a memoir, or you could write it and be published widely, or it could just write and get out of your head and be something for somebody else to read and experience through your lens.
So the last book that I really kind of wanted to point out is what I talk about when I talk about running, pardon me. This was a memoir that came out of writer Haruki Murakami's experience with writing and running. This is mostly like writing instructional, which I really enjoyed, but it also covers his experience kind of getting into the practice of running. So I really enjoyed it, mostly because of the list of his different experiences preparing for different races and actually getting into running. So this wouldn't have really been part of the nonfiction collection had Murakami, who writes some fantastic, basically top of the New York Times bestseller list, pretty much, novels. This wouldn't be present without his dedication to kind of keeping a notebook and writing something down. So that is, again, going to be linked on our page. So the next type of journaling that I'm going to talk about today is nature journaling. Nature journaling is something that I'm a little bit less familiar with, but based on our collections and some of our materials, I've kind of started to I tried to get a quick study in before I started talking with you about it. So, it's summertime, and if you're anything like me, you've spent a little bit more time outside lately, when, it's tolerable and not blazing hot. And I've seen some pretty great things by either going out and hiking or actually just kind of driving down the interstate. You'll see these beautiful patches of wildflowers. Here in Spartanburg, there's lilies on the sides of the street. Lots of really pretty flowers and growths to experience. And so, when you see these things, you really want to take the chance and kind of let them, take them in. And there's been people that have been into birding and nature watching and that sort of thing for hundreds of years, thousands really. It's something that's rooted in the works of people like Henry David Thoreau, Annie Dillard, and poet Mary Oliver. In some of my exploration, I've also found many other poets that are inspired by their nature and definitely kind of started that creative process, perhaps by writing everything down, keeping that journal of the interesting things they see. One recent discovery, very recent, when I was researching this program, is Ross Gay's The Book of Delights. Ross Gay actually has a lot of different essays in here. I haven't had an opportunity to review them all, but there's focus on his garden, there's focus on being outside, and there's focus on just different things that have kind of brought him delight over the span of a year. And I might be going out on a limb here, but I have to say that for the sake of creation, these creators are definitely coming to it from a place of having written things down and recorded things so they can move forward. So this is just another positive outcome of keeping a journal, kind of stemming from our journaling, keeping a diary. And I would just encourage you to take a look at this book. Quick read, quick essays, and that. So the other thing that we have here at the library that you can definitely look into as a very good tool to kind of jumpstart your creativity and get into some journaling yourself is a course on Kanopy, or a series of courses on Kanopy from the Great Courses. The great thing about the Great Courses is they're free. There is no download count against you. So with Kanopy, you get 5 selections a month, and these Great Courses do not count against you. There is a link down in the comment or above the comment section for Great Courses Nature Essays. There's a series of several videos that kind of walks you through it. That is something that is increasingly becoming a very popular way to express oneself, no matter where you come from or who you are.
And I would highly recommend just checking out those great courses because they've got some really great things featured. So next is something I'm a little even less comfortable being an expert on. I'm certainly not an expert on art. There's art journaling. So I don't know how many of you spend much time on Instagram or Pinterest. You've seen examples of this beautiful art journaling. There's like people that use watercolors and these great, multiple ink pens and just a lot of very beautiful stuff. So this includes like artists, like people that get paid for their art, people that hope to get paid for their art, and just doodlers, because doodling is definitely another form of creativity that would be really great in a bound notebook, perhaps. So one thing I want to say about the notebooks that I've mentioned so far as journaling is concerned, we're going to chat about this later, but there is this format of dot grid of journaling. That is kind of a small introduction to the next thing we're going to talk about, but I wanted to point this out because this is something that's really helpful for me when I'm writing, because my writing tends to be pretty big, is using the dot grid. And you can actually find templates for that online, so you don't really need to have a physical copy of it. You can just print some out. But just that's something to keep in mind regarding, especially doodling, because you have that format, and then with writing, you're not, kind of drifting down the page. I feel like I might have gotten off topic, but I do want to talk about another book that we have in our collection that is a author that is telling us that anybody can be creative, and that is through drawing. And it's called Art Before Breakfast by Danny Gregory. Danny Gregory wrote a book some years back called Everyday Matters that I was really into. But this book is really great because he tells the story and he goes through the process of kind of finding a creativity through doodling, and he is very adamant that anyone can find a creative habit. Another thing, as I've said before, creative habits and inspiration are definitely coming out of a journaling practice or a practice of getting everything on the page. So additionally, in regards to creative thinking, here at the library, we do have again, like I've mentioned, Kanopy already. I did notice a wonderful, great course list for Creative Thinkers Toolkit, which is kind of following up with some of the stuff that I've already spoken about, finding inspiration, being creative, kind of moving forward, and just kind of getting yourself on paper. This book here, Journal Me Organized, is a delightful book covering a range of topics, to include bullet journaling, which we'll talk about next. But some of the things that I found in this collection were instructions about making creative spreads, maybe if you're not very creative. Some of those discussions about watercoloring, there's washi tape, there's these beautiful instructions on acrylic paint in your notebook. Again, if you search social media, there's a lot of art journaling people out there, so they could give you a little bit more guidance than I can. Or you can make a note to check out Journal Me Organized. Last but not least, we have bullet journaling. Bullet journaling is a program that we've already had here at the library. Katie, who is in multimedia and fiction, has led that program. It's been very popular, and this summer she is leading a new program where she is going to kind of walk you through the beginnings of keeping a bullet journal. Again, the first tool that you need is a notebook. I like to kind of dress mine up with washi tape and colored pens. And again, the dot grid really kind of works better for this because the name of bullet journaling comes from the dots and the symbols that you would use in the method. This is Ryder Carroll's book detailing the bullet journal method, and again, we will have a class on this method taught by Katie in AV on July 24th. It'll be a virtual class just like this one, available on YouTube at 7 p.m. And I would encourage you to check that out. Again, this is a production of our summer reading programming. Summer Reading 2020 is for all. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and if you have any questions or need any other recommendations, feel free to contact us at the Multimedia and Fiction Desk, extension or phone number 596-3502. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.